Okay, so real fast, real quick, I'm going to talk about Zion Williams. Zion Williams got suspended by the New Orleans Pelicans for one game, conduct detrimental to the team. This basically points to Zion Williams gaining a lot of weight while he's injured. That's no stranger to Zion Williams. Every time he's on injured reserve, he just adds weight. He adds mass to himself. He was in a Mountain Dew commercial, I think 3 seasons ago. And in that commercial, he just added, it just seemed like he added an extra 200 pounds, okay? He was like a fat kid in a cake store, okay? So this is nothing new to Zion Williams. It seems like he's going back to his old habits. Shannon Sharp just went ham on Zion Williams, talking about his, taking care of him. He doesn't take care of himself when he's injured. And, this goes back to what I always said, that Zion Williams is going to be injury prone for the remainder of his year. I mean, for his career in the NBA. He's just one of those players that's going to constantly be injured. This could be due to his mass. He's one of these type of players that takes it to the hole. He's an explosive player, and when you're doing that type of motion, when you're young, your body can deal with that type of stress that you're putting onto your body. But when you get older, it gets very, very hard to do that. Now, several players have weight problems in the NBA. The most popular one is Shaquille O'Neal. But then between Shaquille O'Neal and Zion Williams, Shaquille O'Neal, it seemed like Shaquille O'Neal had a light switch. He turns it on, he turns it off. When he was with Orlando and with the Lakers and with the Heat, he maintained his weight, okay? Maybe he didn't spend a lot of time in the gym. Maybe he didn't care too much about nutrition or eating the right things. I think there was a clashing between him and Kobe. Kobe said that in the offseason, Shaquille O'Neal would slack off because he's, doing music videos and movies and things of that nature. He just didn't have time to take care of himself in the offseason. And I just didn't think Shaquille O'Neal had that in him anyway. But at least Shaquille O'Neal know how to turn it on and turn it off. Now, in his later years in the NBA, he just turned, the light switch just stayed off, okay? Particularly when he was with Phoenix, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Boston Celtics. He just let himself go. He just basically depended on his weight and what physical attributes he can bring to the table. And that wasn't a good Shaquille O'Neal, but he had a great career in the NBA. But when you look at Zion Williams, it seems like he's going to be one of those type of players like Anthony Davis that's going to be always injury prone. He's going to have issues keeping weight off of him, and that's just a fact. Now, Zion Williams' problem is when he's injured, he doesn't do the right things or eat the right things when he's injured. It just seems like he just don't care, and he just eats whatever that's in front of him, and he doesn't really work out to keep the weight off of him. Particularly a city like New Orleans, they have great food down there. You have to have a blocker in you that says, hey, look, I can't eat that, because if I eat that, that's going to add more pounds on me. Obviously, he loves sweets and things of that nature. And he's going to be always injury prone. And look, when you're young, you can be very explosive, and your body can handle those types of the things you do to your body, the shock that you put on your body. When you're young, you're able to absorb that. But when you get older, it's hard for you to reproduce that on a constant, consistent basis, being explosive. And, your body is not going to be able to handle the things that you're doing to it with, but and that's why I always said about Zion Williams, what else Zion Williams can bring to the table? Can he be a mid-range shooter? Can he be somewhat of a threat on the 3-point line. I'm not saying that he should jack up 10 threes and make 7 of them, but be some type of threat where you have to put some type of pressure on him, because he might make it and he might not. Okay, so my thing of it is he hasn't had time to develop those things because he's constantly injured, and I feel like this is the last straw for Zion Williams as far as him being in New Orleans. Like, that wasn't the case 3 years ago. You know, New Orleans was building a team around Zion Williams. Zion Williams was projected to be a big-time star in the NBA. There were rumors that suggest that Zion Williams demanded a trade to the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks was interested in Zion Williams. They was willing to give up their team for Zion Williams. They wanted to trade. They wanted to draft Zion Williams. Was unable to get him, but they were still interested in Zion Williams. Back in the day. All right. Now, New York Knicks. They have no need for Zion Williams. That team is doing better. They got Cat over there with the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks are, changing their fortunes around. They're winning they're winning a ton of games. They're having plenty of success. But when you look at the New Orleans Pelicans, they just can't turn that key over as far as success-wise. Particularly you trade AD, you get all these players, and you get the Brandon Ingrams, you get a Ball, you get a lot of players for Anthony Davis, and you squander the years with them, and then you trade them to other teams, and you really don't get nothing in return for them. And now you draft Zion Williams, and this is not panning out either. I feel like when the basketball season is over with, there's going to be a lot of big time changes in New Orleans. They're going to get they're going to clean house on the front office, which it's not their fault, but they have to blame somebody, and normally the front office gets the blunt of the blame. And then when they get a new front office there, possibly a new coach, they're going to reevaluate Zion Williams. And if they wasn't thrilled about Zion Williams on the outside looking in, what makes y'all think they're going to be thrilled with them when they have to deal with them? So they're going to try to trade Zion Williams. And if you look at Zion Williams' trade market, his trade value, it's not a lot of value for Zion Williams. I don't think there's a multitude of teams that are interested in Zion Williams, okay? Because if you look at these teams, it had to be a pretty desperate team that just needs a spark, that just need a somewhat of a star to generate some type of buzz, to generate people buying tickets and believing in the team. There's not a lot of teams out there like that. Okay, I know the first team that people are gonna say, the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers have been struggling. Okay. Zion Williams, entertaining a Zion Williams possibly going to Portland. Would it create buzz? Will it create butts and seats? I don't know. Maybe the Zion Williams in the past, when he was, not so much injured all the time, which he was injured, when he came into the NBA. That Zion Williams, there could be some buzz, but this Zion Williams, not so much. I'm not too sure about that. And as I'm thinking, and this is my third time doing this video, which I had plenty of time to think about other teams. I just don't see a lot of teams in that state of mind, in that state where they're just throwing crap on the wall, hoping for it to stick. There's not a lot of teams out there that's in those situations. Okay, if you want to bring Portland up, maybe, but I think Portland can do bad by themselves. They don't really need a Zion Williams. The Brooklyn Nets, I think Brooklyn Nets can just do bad by themselves. They don't really need a Zion Williams unless they're getting something in return for getting Zion Williams. It just Charlotte, even though Charlotte, I don't think Charlotte is in that type of situation. Okay. maybe if Michael Jordan was the primary, if he was the primary, if he was the majority owner, maybe Michael Jordan would kick the tires around for a Zion Williams trade because, Zion Williams is with Jordan, the Jordan brand. I mean, that's the only connection I can see. Or, why would Michael Jordan would entertain this? It would put butts in seats. It would create buzz and sell shoes and merch and all that stuff. But as far as the Hornets going to being a decent team or a contending team, I just don't see it that way either. So I just don't see a huge buzz. I mean, there's not a huge market for Zion Williams. I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that's kicking the tires around for a Zion Williams trade. I believe the New Orleans Pelicans are stuck with Zion Williams, which leads to what they're going to do with his contract. When it's time for him to re-up, are they going to give him a max contract with a lot of incentives and a lot of penalties in it? Like if he goes overweight, they deduct money from his future earnings. Are they going to do something like that? Which is possible, which is believable, is doable. But I think the New Orleans Pelicans are stuck with Zion Williams, and Zion Williams is stuck with New Orleans Pelicans. Even if these two entities do not want to do business anymore, no one wants a Zion Williams, and it's going to cost this franchise. This franchise it's going to be a long time before this franchise is a contending team, a competitive team. I just don't see anything out there realistically that a team would want a Zion Williams. And look. I had a lot of questions about Zion Williams. A lot of people thought that Zion Williams was going to be the next Charles Barkley. And I didn't think so. I understand why people were connecting those dots. But if you look at Charles Barkley was more than just an athletic, explosive, particularly when he played for the Philadelphia 76ers. Charles Barkley added other nuances to his game. He was a great rebounder, a great passer. He fits well with any system. His perimeter game was better than Zion Williams. Charles Barkley, if Charles Barkley in his prime would be a whole lot better than Zion Williams in his prime. It's just the only thing Zion Williams brought to the table was his athleticism and his being explosive to the rim, and that's it. Okay, he wasn't a great rebounder. He wasn't a great passer. He was a decent passer. He wasn't a great passer. He wasn't better than Charles Barkley or even Shaquille O'Neal. His handles are not that good. He's not a good perimeter player like those guys I just mentioned. So, it's sad to see, but the biggest question is not if someone's interested in trading for Zion Williams, but the biggest question is, does Zion Williams even have a future in the NBA? Because if you look at the landscape of the NBA, Zion Williams' skill set does not fit realistically with today's NBA. This is, and even though I've done videos about there's too much shooting in the NBA, too much three-point shooting in the NBA, Zion Williams was never a three-point threat. Zion Williams wasn't even a decent three-point threat, below average three-point threat. If you look at the NBA and the future is taking now, unless the commissioner changed the rules and change how they play basketball for the foreseeable future. But as of right now, Zion Williams doesn't fit today's NBA. Okay. So yeah, it is what it is. Guys, you tell me what you think. I'm not saying Zion Williams is garbage. He's Garbino. But what I am saying is Zion Williams' future is not that good. Okay? If with New Orleans, I can see him going back to New Orleans. Anywhere else, the future is very bleak for Zion Williams. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.